Cool. Well, one, appreciate you. Anybody who's joining here, appreciate anyone who's coming in to watch it. We'll edit this and get it out to the masses in case they come in at different portions of the live stream. So, um, but my buddy Chris owns a local shop. Actually, one of the very first sites we ever did before we were even officially named Detailers Roadmap. So on the bottom of his website, he's got the old school 8-bit creative logo.
Soon to change.
Yeah. So Chris talked to me a little bit ago, and he's like, hey, I'm in a scenario where kind of coming back to my shop, and I'm really kind of I had to look, part ways from a GM or someone on the sales side, and you're really having to take on part of the role. And I think I asked you, I don't even know if you remember, I asked you, I'm like, do you like doing the sales? And do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I mean, I like the personal interaction in person, but like answering the phone is not my favorite part. But a lot of my, I actually had a friend that dropped off a car this week, and he's like, I kind of told him about the situation and stuff. He's like, well, he's like, I come here and people come here for you. So that's an also thing. It's like, if you have somebody that's gonna be on sales team, they gotta, jive and vibe with you and kind of what you've built, so.
Yeah, I mean, and I think you even had said at one point is like, you really like the in-person interaction, but like don't love like the chase, the kick down, the text, the phone, but like when you're in the shop, then you kind of like escalate them up. And you had without getting into too many details, it's just the last guy didn't work out for whatever reasons. And I said, if it was me in my scenario, do you have like a hiring process? And you said, I'd be open to hear what you said. And for context, for anybody who's watching this, I've given this type of presentation like probably 10 or 12 times. And this type of presentation is really not only how to hire, what to look for, comp plan, script, and how to hold people accountable. And so we'll try and make it really, really quick and easy. And I kind of said to Chris, I said, would you mind hopping on this webinar? And, because he's going through it right now. He's going to go through this process. And let's get into it. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, for context, Chris is kind of in the 7-figure range. Really wants to bring somebody in, give a place. And I always say in these scenarios is like, if you're looking at somebody who's in sales, let's give them an opportunity to earn, not give them a job, if that makes sense, or give them a sales. And so, the real problem is, and for anyone who's watching, you're going to be able to get a much more in-depth doc at the end of this as well. So stick around. I'll show you where to get it. It's going to give you all the minute details of everything. So, the real problem is like your phone is really your pipeline, right? Like there's form submissions, I get it, but is anybody like owning it? And most shops don't stall because the work is like bad. They stall because like leads typically go unanswered, missed call text backs, like quotes are not followed up on. So like a lead comes in, nobody really owns it, and then like revenue walks away. And does that kind of feel somewhat similar?
Yeah, I mean, jumping back in, it's a lot, running the whole shop again and everything. And it's, to stay on top of so many leads that are coming in, it is hard to keep up at times. So it's at that point where, you gotta get some help in those areas that you're struggling in to keep everything rolling. Because sure, we're slammed right now, but also it's important to maintain and keep just even responding to any of those leads and just having some form of communication at all times with them.
Yeah.
That's, even if a few slip through and somebody's like, well, can't get a hold of them, blah, 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 like it is important. So it's at the point where it's like, I gotta just stay on top of it and make sure that's done in some way, if it's me or if it's someone else.
Yeah. And it's, the biggest thing about pipeline is really getting them to be responsible and owning it and being accountable for it. And I'm going to kind of walk through that a little bit as well. So I've got kind of two documents here, and I'm going to kind of snap back and forth between them. Some of this won't be like fully readable on this screen, but you'll get all these documents as well. So, the big part of this first process is really kind of what type of post to make. So, I personally don't like hear me out on these scenarios. Is like, I had a guy down in Florida, and he's like, I really just want a receptionist. I want someone at like 45 grand. I want a receptionist, answer the phone. In my experience, like receptionists don't close deals. They don't create warmth. They don't really understand sales techniques. And you could hire someone at 45,000, or you could put someone at 45,000 and give them opportunities to earn to bring up more business. And I think most business owners would say, give me the latter, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so we typically call them like customer experience and sales coordinator. You could call it business development, but really at the core of it, they're not sales. They are customer experience. And this will happen later where you understand where I'm going. In microphone, I'm okay. Hopefully I'm not too far sounding, but why you start with this type of role and title, long-term down the road, this person's going to have a book of business, and it'll make hiring a second person really, really easy because they'll actually have a book and they'll turn into what's called like account management. And if you frame it as experience and sales versus just sales, it starts to change the frame mind, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So long story short, we want them to answer every call. We want them to answer messages, leads within minutes, right? The biggest thing I always tell people with kind of like any role or hire, if it's not written down, assume it's in your brain and nobody knows it's in that safe. And I think you, me, all small business owners fall victim to that. Like, I had it in my mind that you were going to do this, but we didn't write it down. And then they get mad at us. We get mad at them. Customer gets mad at the shop. It's like a lose, lose, lose. So the big thing here is your application, which I'm going to give you an application of what to do. You're going to write it down in your application because you're going to hold you and them accountable to it. And so we really want people to, the person who's going to do this, they want them to guide customers. We want to follow up until the job is won or clearly lost. And that is like a very specific language. It's kind of buy or die a little bit. And we want to track every lead, no exceptions. And I am like very harsh on that. I could show you our sales process, but every lead, every blind call, every form submission, I want to know where they came from, what car they had. I'm pretending I'm a shop owner. I want to know what made them think about PPF. They have minimums that they're going to ask. And no customer gets to walk away with at least those three questions. Now, he could tell us, go screw ourselves. I'm not answering those questions. That's fine. But we're going to ask all three questions. So that's the kind of the first part here. I think the biggest misconception when hiring somebody in the sales experience is like naturally, and I think you had even said it yourself, is like, you're like, what about this person? This person's a car person. I actually don't believe you need a car person because you can teach Tint, you can teach PPF, you can't teach warmth, hustle, and really culture to drive and follow up. You can never teach hustle. You can teach cars. If I had one, and I think I even told you that, like when you and I were talking, like, man, you just want someone who's like a people pleaser. I think is kind of what the words I said. Like when you're getting in an interview process, you kind of want to have like that hospitality, people pleaser vibe. And so where we actually, where I recommend actually getting people quite a bit is, believe it or not, like not hardened sales people who door knock, even though they can be pretty good. Like hospitality sectors do really well. Retail sectors. One of our best sales guys here sold shoes. You know, um, and you just when you talk to him, you just light up and you smile. But I would rather have someone who's smiley and I pain to tell them go screw themselves, I'm not buying, than someone who's a car person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it just helps the overall experience
Yeah.
with them. Yeah.
Who would you, in the end of the day, who would you rather have? Someone who just like absolutely is a people pleaser, makes the customers feel great, doesn't give away a dollar if unless absolutely needed, or someone who knows cars?
Definitely the first.
Yeah.
It really is. There's some shops that are more like, hey, I just want the job, get it done. Where I want our customers for as long as possible. They need anything, we're here to help them. Then they're calling for their next vehicle, and you build that relationship. I've done a lot where I try to just build more relationships than anything with the business.
Yeah.
So,
and part of this doc too is like, I'm going to give you literally in this at the end here, guys, I'm going to give you the actual job posting. So I'm going to give you the title. I'm going to give you the degree. I actually don't believe you need a degree in this scenario. I'm going to give you the post, what you'll be doing. I'm going to give you guys everything. So it's not showing it on my screen because I'm a putz and I let the social media person off for the night. But on my side, you'll be able to see, there it is. You'll be able to see the exact application. So Indeed works really well. I think you should use your detailers roadmap hours, to be honest, and have us build a job post on your actual website as well. You never know when another person comes through. I think every website we make, you should have us make a job application board, and it's honestly, it's like 45 minutes to make one. But I believe with this, lead with earning potential, not a flat rate. So I think a lot of shops tend to fall in the trap of earn 65 grand, earn 100 grand, whatever. You really want to tell them your commission's kind of uncapped, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you want them to grow with the business.
Grow with the business. The better the shop does, the better they do, bar none. I don't think listing automotive experience is necessary, but there is a trick to some of this as well. It's a little bit more advanced. It depends on how much you're willing to do. But realistically, if you have 80 applicants, it's probably going to narrow you down to 3. And there's a couple ways you can do this. I personally like to have customers ask for a short loom, and I'm going to give you the questions that you'll want to ask them. But a loom or a screen recording, and there's software out there, especially in the hiring stuff, that you can actually use software. It's called like HireFix or Workable. And I think HireFix is like $75 for like a month. It's 100% worth it. What's going to happen is you're going to give them screening questions, which I'm going to give you guys here. And you're going to give them, it's crazy, 100 applicants. You're going to give them 4 questions or 4 to 5. And out of 100, 20 are going to get on camera. And then your pool has dropped significantly because now you'll be able to tell, because in my opinion, in an experience role, if they won't get on camera and they won't just talk on camera, out, immediate out.
Yeah.
They're customer facing. They should not have any problem in this scenario. If they don't submit this is an immediate kill. So now you can drop your 100 applicants down to 20. And then really what you're looking for is like keeping minutes under 2 minutes. If they don't do videos, they're out. Do they communicate well? You're really looking for a people pleaser. Really, I mean, you will know when when you slightly get it, like, I'm just curious. People who are curious themselves tend to do really good in this role. HireFix and Workable will make your life really, really easy in this scenario so that you can take an applicant. And because I don't know about you, but if I had 100 applicants, I'm going to lose my freaking mind. Like, but if I tell them you need to apply at this link and you send it to 100, 100 gets you 5, might be just as low as 5. You know what you're really dealing with.
It's going to save you a lot of time.
It's gonna save you a shit ton of time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
And you want someone who loves people. And the questions I'm giving you in the job description is determined of like how you're gonna get that. Like, how do you? I think one of the ones is like, if everybody says they want to do something, do you tend to like go with them, or do you kind of do your own thing? You're actually looking for certain answers, and I walk you through it. The 5 pre-interview questions, I won't read off all of them, but like customer service motivated stuff is really what you're looking for. What motivates you more? Predictable routine or performance-based earning? Number 3 is a trick question. We're actually looking for kind of a little bit of both, but we're really looking for performance-based earning. And do you have experience in, all that stuff? And what interests you about Tint, PPF, and vehicles? Wrong answers aren't wrong answers. You're really watching for energy, self-awareness, and raise my hand. The biggest signal, if they start putting out anything curious vibes about you, even though we're asking them questions, it's a huge up signal. That's great. Any questions on like these pre-interview pieces or anything of that nature?
No.
Okay. So some gentle flags here. Green flags is like if they're talking about like listening, empathy, if they're excited by commission, upsides, if they kind of start talking about follow-ups or habitual stuff. Those are all really, really, big green flags. They're okay being wrong, and they understand that. A really big red flag is avoids phone calls. So you want to start making it known, like, if you got an option to phone call me to solve a problem or text me, what are you going to do? Text. I don't really like phone calls. Boom, out. Red flags are red flags. They're not yellow, beige flags. Red flags are full red. You want someone who's predictable, and you want someone, if somebody gets defensive about feedback, and there are questions in there of like, come up like, hey, tell me this. And do you mind? Why would you do that? If you detect defensiveness, it's going to come out later in sales. It's not good. It's a huge, massive flag. You and I had talked about a specific person, and that person really gets defensive on like any pushback, right? So just you want Mickey Mouse if that makes sense, for your business. If they think selling is being pushy, in this role, part of this is a little push. We're not asking them to shove stuff down people's throats, but follow-up is follow-up. It's not push, if that makes sense. So here's now you can move this needle up and down. And there's going to be a few people who are going to probably shut off and be like, I need $100,000 to bring somebody in. But basically, at $1 million shop, what I've seen work the most is taking somebody at a base salary of roughly, what is that? Just $3,750 a month or $4,000 a month, somewhere around there, not even. Putting them on a base salary of 45, giving them a tiered commission structure. I'm going to walk you guys through this, and really around $1 million, and you can swing around a little bit on this. They should be making between 75 and 85, somewhere in there. If somebody's coming in and they want 150, you can say, here's how you can get to 150. I'm just, from what I've seen of most 7 and 8 figure shops, most sales guys can't carry a book of business. And so when I say book of business, like a very tiered, like here's my 40 accounts and take phone calls, they usually can't really do more than $1.5 million is what I've noticed. There's some A players that are like doing 2 million, but it's really rare. I'm just going to be honest. Usually at 2 million, you are not following up at like, here's my 30 guys that I like to call every kind of 2-3 months. The game of business, with sales is relationship, not new leads every day, right? If you have to fight for every new lead, marketing costs, and this is coming from a marketing guy, marketing costs just go up, 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 right? Like I'm telling you, don't buy from me as much sometimes. Like focus on account management, because once they hit that tier, the rate applies to the full month. So I'll kind of show you an example, kind of scroll down, but in this as well, just hopping back for a second, for the full interview, I literally give you the areas of focus, like how are you organized, coachability. I give you all these green flags and red flags when they're answering the questions. And the easy way to do it is just print it out and cross them off as they go. But basically how this structure could look. Did you have a question?
No.
Someone can absolutely make, 120 grand at a shop, but, it's going to bring in 1.4 into the business. So, if somebody says, well, I really need to be 120, you could say, hey, here's how my shop is currently working and we don't have a full-size sales guy. So, you're essentially saying, here's your book of business and here's your commission rate. So if you're saying, hey, I want to make 80, cool. If you're doing 960 in revenue in the shop, you're getting 3.5, you're getting a monthly commission on top of your base. And here's kind of your comp. You want to be a pusher, you've got ways to make 100. So you have ways to give them up. You take away the ceiling. Be like, we don't put people, and this is why I don't love 100K flats or 80, even 65K flats. I don't like them. You're not incentivizing anything other than to keep the job. If that makes sense.
For sure.
So you don't have to, and anyone who's watching this, you don't have to take this. You can adjust this slightly. Sometimes you can put in spiffs, like, hey, 1,500, 2,500, $4,000. You can spiff people up. It doesn't always have to be flat, but a lot of times I like to throw spiffs out there. Just the big thing with spiffs is don't do them as a way to pick up sales where they should be. Use spiffs as like, hey, we are on track for 900,000 this year. If you hit $1 million, I've got a $4,000.
Like reaching milestones and stuff like that. It's where
yeah. And if it's written out, genuinely, this is how I do it. Like the first time I was doing sales guys is like, I might have fucked this up. I might be overpaying you. I'm just being honest. Like we will reevaluate this January 1st. But you might win. If I feel like I won a lot, I will make you whole, but I will stick to what I've written down. And they kind of like that, I've noticed. And I never want to tell people that they don't have an ability to earn more, if that makes sense. So, hey, if you're selling 40 grand, you're going to get 1%. And you can tier this, you can try this in Excel, you can jack it up. But this is kind of how this is tiered off of 80,000 roughly. If you want to step up from there, sure, go for it. I just will reiterate this 1,000 times because I know there's people who are watching this. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm sure there are people who are going to get paid 120 to sell $1 million, but there will also be people who will take less and be very happy. We're not trying to be super cheap, but I'm trying to keep Chris's shop profitable. And you got to remember, when you have a tint guy and some certain services are taking 30%, and you got this beautiful website company taking $250, and you have lease, I've just found that it doesn't take much to accidentally overpay and get yourself in trouble. Real numbers, real revenue. So like if you're telling them, hey, if you're doing 100 grand, if you're stepping me from 83 to 100, I'm financially going to be paying you about 14, 13 grand more. And you can put spiffs in there, you know what I mean? But It's not overhead, it's revenue generating position. This is a great coordinator pays for themselves and probably realistically in the first 60 days if you're doing this right. If you're not seeing increases and ways for them to pay for themselves in 60 days, you've got the wrong person. And you have to draw that Google Calendar line 60 days later. And if you are not making headway at 60 days, you got to stop right there. I've had to do it. It's a suckiest conversation, but you're actually going to say that as well when you hire them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not fun, but if they know that this is not like a free ride forever, you know, they kind of get in line, and it's not like you're there to be harsh with them. You just be like, hey, I just got to make sure this works. Right. So we talked about incentives. You can stack spiffs, stuff like that. So this one might be a little hard to read, but kind of the one that works the best is we like to put people into like what's called a 30 and 60 day roadmap. Roadmap, great word, just saying. Really, by the end of day 30, this coordinator should understand the business, services, journey, why you start with selling tint at $3.99 and then you upsell in the shop. They should really start understanding this at this stage. This sheet is literally what you print, and you cross off this every Friday before they leave. How are we doing on review? Learning the CRM. I'm gonna give you guys like the most basic bitch, you know, CRM Excel sheet. If you're really in a 7-figure club, we've got a bigger system that does a lot more. Week 2, your communication methods, you know, role playing. Weeks 3 and 4, you're really kind of growing the share of inbound calls. Borderline should be handing off almost all calls by that point, and begin identifying upsell opportunities. So you are looking for these 4 little things every week, and it makes it really, really easy for them, and it makes it actually really, really easy for you. So, does that kind of help a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You know, what I do is I print them off on one page each week, and I just cross them off. And it sucks to remember this, but you go through this process, I guarantee you will feel like an effing mastermind.
Yeah. Just having checklists in general in this industry with certain things and getting it on paper and follow through is really important. So
yeah, absolutely. You know, days, you know, just I'm going to mention these kind of like green flags. You know, it might be a little tough to see, but you're looking for friendliness. You're really looking for like discovery and rapport. And I have scripts that are at the end of this, but you're really looking from improvement, curiosity, and rapport. Rapport is the biggest thing. It's the hardest thing to teach. But if you say, hey, why'd you pick that car? Oh, okay. What made you think about tint? Do you just mind? Oh, I love that car, actually. You know, I'm just very curious. Those are sweet. Just everything is sweet, by the way. Oh, those are sweet. I love those Supras. Those are sweet. Oh, those trucks are sweet. Everything's sweet, by the way. Every car. Oh, those are cool. I love those. Everything's sweet. If you're excited about the car, they're excited about the car.
Mm-hmm.
And if the customer's excited, the salesman's excited. You know what I mean? So it's like, this webinar would go a little different if I was like, fucking sales guys, sales experience. You know what I mean? Every car is sweet.
And it's, you relate with the customers on things, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know, we recently worked on those. They're wonderful. Yeah, no, it's big part of it.
There's a big shout out to Grant Menard, who did our podcast, one of my favorite podcasts ever. It's the numbers, I think it's like number 6 or 7 or 8 on Detailer's Roadmap YouTube. And he's like, how to create detailing Disneyland. Man, that's a great, like 40-minute podcast he did with Kevin. It's so good, but that's a great scenario. Red flags really in the 30 days is avoiding phone calls. If you were starting to detect that, don't beat around the bush. Don't eat it up. Be like, hey, are we avoiding phone calls? Or are we taking too many? And marketing's really killing it. You know, stuff like that. If you are noticing they're not entering notes in even the most basic CRM I'm going to give you, huge flag, because you as a business owner want to come in at the end of the week at any time of the day and look at why didn't we sell. And it's not like you want to make sure they're organized, right? People pleasers should also people please the boss in the shop. So you want to make sure they're entering notes. I do not want to see 9 phone calls come into the shop and what happened. It's not a micromanager thing. It's really for them, because then they are going to be able to come back to their notes next week when they're slow. There's a method to the madness. Trust me.
Full circle.
Full circle, because it's not one step is not going to do it enough. So this one's really tough. Waiting to be told every step, that just naturally comes with this a little bit of like, oh, what should I do next? Start reframing a little bit. Maybe consider doing what's called 131. Hey, you sold it. I showed you the CRM. What do you think should be the next step? It's a process. Be patient with them a little bit. But when you're getting into days 30 and 60, you're really looking at activity. You're really starting to recognize some sales. Response time is a big thing, and note quality, and then handoff quality. If somebody's like, this guy's really picky about his white skyline and he's a pain in the ass and he's got a white bumper that nobody wants to do, and we're going to peel paint on this beach, like
we never have those.
Never have those. But if the notes have it, you've got it, which means the shop's got it, which means the sales manager's got it, all that stuff. So here's the leads I'm working on. Here's who I closed, and here's who I think we can improve. You'll have abilities to kind of grow with them and own that role. Really, on day 60, they should be owning the role. And same thing, I'm going to give you guys kind of like 3 to 4 check boxes. And the big one is at the end on day 60, you're literally going to do like a sit rep with them on that 60th day and say, here's my leads, here's the follow-ups, and here's what I can improve. You're going to ask them what we can improve. Mind shift is what happens really at those back 6 weeks, because you're saying, what do you think needs to get adjusted here? Now they're starting to change their mind a little bit. The hardest one as business owners that you're going to have is like making time. But I will tell you this, it's just like having kids or a family or a new role or anything. If you don't stay with someone, you can expect them to stray from the path, if that makes sense. So I like to do like a bi-weekly sit rep around 6 weeks typically. So every 2 weeks, hey, what's going on? I'm going to tell you it should be almost once a week for the first 6 weeks. Hey, what leads are currently open? You want to ask, where are they mostly coming in? Well, CRM's going to tell you. Hey, when are follow-ups completed? The CRM, this is all working together, and it's all, they're going to start, because if you are starting to hear like, I don't know, I don't know, but if you start hearing stuff like that, that's the red flags. So we're going to kind of you're going to hold them accountable, and you're going to be accountable to stay with them every week. So that will kind of hold it. I did provide, that was a lot to throw at somebody, and I'll kind of walk through here on some CRM stuff as well. Did you have any questions on behalf of this beautiful studio audience?
No, on my end, I don't. Does anybody, have you gotten any questions or anything?
Just the one person tells me I'm like blurry, but whatever.
Not blurry on my end, but no, all this stuff has been good info so far. Yeah, no.
Okay. So a CRM, if you're using your Able or OrbisX, that is like scheduling and really kind of like getting the calendar, payroll, stuff like that. But we treat like even our own that we have for DR partners, which is RPM. RPM is relationship performance management. So with the CRM, you're a true like sales CRM. It's every walk-in, every phone call, every form submission logged. No exceptions starting day one. That means if Chris Williams takes a phone call with the new salesperson, he is literally going to go to a computer and log it. And not going to take it, walk around the shop, and forget about everything. You have to start with the system. So this is, and I get so excited with hiring salespeople. It's my favorite thing in the world because it's all the stuff you wish you did for yourself, but you're going to train it into somebody, and then
Sure.
it just gets so fun. So if you just want like the basic version in this document I'm going to give you guys, it'll let you copy this document and it'll literally, and I've got a whole video in here. You can click up here on the top left and it'll show you how to do it and all this stuff. But every single lead is going to be logged. Marty McFly, what's Marty's address? You're going to ask for how they heard about us. You're going to require these 3 questions. You feel free to adjust this, but this is the most basic version of just like what happened to all these leads. I've got versions of this where people have literally sent me this document filled out for an entire year, and then they know their close rate of every single thing. Close rate of detailing, close rate of ceramic coating, PPF. I also want to, and it's hard for me to see, how many people inquired on PPF, how many people inquired on detailing. This is just the most basic version, but I'll be honest, this is how like my sales guys today still use a basic variation of this because it's just easy to type in, and in RPM, it's got a heavier, deeper pipeline. But a lot of times they just go back to this. And sure enough, if I'm not seeing notes, follow-up, what service inquired, why are they dead, we're going to have a problem, and it's not to be a jerk off. Some stuff happens, some stuff falls through the cracks, but you're going to try and defeat habit at the end of the day. One guy had a question. This is actually not a bad question. I might just pop this up. What do you think about having a tiered commission structure with KPIs so it emphasizes more on performance of the seller and less of business growth? Sure, you can adjust and make your own tiered commission structure with key performance indexes. You'd have to tell me more of kind of what, I don't know, the performance of the seller. I mean, it's the performance of the seller is still going to be the shop revenue at the end of the day. So I feel like it's very similar, but it's not that far off. If you are really into a kind of 500K shop and beyond, here's my mini pitch, and I won't go on to it, is like we have RPM, which is like the nastiest of the nasty follow-up system that helps salespeople, customer success people really stay on them. It auto logs every phone call. It serves drip campaigns with the salespeople, and then it has post-purchase follow-ups. It connects to Urable. It connects to Orbis X. Includes a newsletter. It is like a monster. And if you click this link when you get in here, you get this document, you can watch this video where basically I don't know, give or take, go, look at that. I'm like 15 pounds heavier there. Now I'm like ripped. Look at this. Look at that. Muscles, 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 muscles. But this is like a really inbound post-purchase stuff. This is the perfect system I wanted when I was building out Detailer's Roadmap, and we have built out. And now it will serve all of your customers' drip campaigns to try and get them to re-engage. Right now, its ROI is through the roof if you're doing 50K or more a month, guaranteed on that one. But that's my mini pitch on RPM. I put some scripts in here. There's probably some better scripts out there. I would tell you at the end of the day, like a really good one is to like teach Claude or ChatGPT what's called your perfect customer profile. But I like to build scripts on rapport. As a personal experience, just from Roadmap, My guys are not allowed to sell websites. Literally, they are not allowed to sell websites within the first 3 minutes. Why are you thinking about a website? Pretend I'll just watch this. Why are you thinking about paint protection film? What kind of car do you have? Fuck, that's a sweet car. You know, like sweet. Everything's a sweet car. Remember? Everything's sweet. I'm going to make a slide after this. Everything's sweet. They are not allowed to pitch PPF. Why are you? Oh, that's cool. What color? Oh man, that color is fire. You know, you got to have excitement with it. You know, understand the motivation for comfort. Man, nobody really wants to buy anything more than when they really have rapport with someone. Man, I'm getting giggly. You want to buy a website from me now, right? So build a rapport. Don't build the sale. Some of the best sales guys, Mike Richards in the call. Have you ever talked to Mike? Like, he is just like the nicest human ever, which is crazy for Florida, by the way. Just kidding. But like, you smile when you talk to him, and it's just, you could just tell he will naturally teach up his own, why he's worth more, why but you as a person, I can't stress this enough. If you put these foundations in now, this makes really having them a book of business when you want to go to $1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million. This makes this really easy because they've built rapport with somebody they really enjoy, and they get a book of business that they get to call. Gravy train. That's where it's really at. So, you know, before some of the script is going to say something like, before I give you a number, let me ask you just 2 quick questions, right? If you get somebody who's getting a pushover, or, you know, guide to a deposit. Some guys don't take deposits. It's your personal stuff, but really rapport is how you do it. Do you mind if I ask what got you thinking about this? Can I tell me what type of car? Honestly, sometimes not talking about the car does wonders. What area are you calling in from? I'm calling in from Milwaukee. Dang, are you doing one of those like roundabout runs where all the cars are in the corner? Like, oh, I saw that in the news. Rapport is a big thing. You know, it will really open up. They will actually sell themselves really quick. I personally am not, and you and I have talked about this a little bit, like, I'm not a super big fan of trying to pitch, so, you know, deep ceramic, Expel Plus, you know, XR Plus. I'm really not a big fan of stuff that requires a hand in front of the window box. I'd rather like, yeah, we're $399 for that car. You know, this, we do this. I just personally, when we listen to RPM, we don't hear a lot of people always be super successful with kind of upgrading on the phone, because it's like, yeah, it rejects heat. The hell does that mean? You know?
Yeah.
Does that mean I can have Superman in the car and he, you know, light the latest? They kind of don't understand it. So I did drop in a couple scripts in here. I did drop in a couple of scripts for PPF. Keep in mind, guys, like, not all of this is 100% perfect by any stretch. I dropped in a ceramic coating phone script in here that I really liked. If anybody's ever asking as well on this chat, who I recommend from a sales perspective, I really like Joe Torbati's sales training. He's a great friend of mine, does 500 to 600 grand a month. His company is Detailing Evolution, and it's Joseph Turbati on Facebook. If you're a part of RPM Partners, you might have seen that name float around a little bit, because we do some special stuff for RPM guys. And if you're on RPM and you're on this and you haven't heard about Joe Turbati, that just means your name is coming up on the list soon. We actually have him do some training with RPM shops as well. But he's very good about rapport, saying stuff is sweet, and like upselling in the shop, essentially. So, but other than that, I'm going to kind of pause, put it here where you can get all this stuff in the very end. So I put this entire document together, you know, lines worth memorizing, log every lead, talking about a little baby pitch on RPM, give me a break on the logo being stretched like it's 1985 PowerPoint. Not bad for Claude, done in this stuff. Here's where you go get the document, and there's no, you guys know me, there is no, I'm not putting any, give me your newsletter name, give me your email. You guys can have this document. You can have it, no big deal. So you can go build this system. It has the basic CRM. It's got the Indeed article. You go to rpmsystem.io and you go to /hire, and you can grab the playbook right there. You don't have to put in your name, your information. It's yours. You can have it. I will also drop this recording in probably tomorrow. If you go to RPM system as well, so you can also, what if like I was typing something, like something naughty popped up?
I was waiting for it.
I think it's right at the bottom under quick links. And in here there's a big pink button that says grab this document right in here. And that's where you guys want to go. So you get that little basic CRM. You've got all this stuff. This entire document's yours. It's my present to the industry of like whatever you guys need. Hopefully you can do this. I'd love to do this again, and knock on wood, maybe we can make it better. Someone might say, hey, I really like this script, but I found this really good. If you have some feedback, would love it. I'd love to open it up to questions if you guys are cool with it. If you've got a few minutes, Chris.
Sure.
Heck yeah, let's do it. Let's remove this. Okay, cool. What questions can I answer for you? Or should I ask you questions? Should I build rapport?
I mean, it's just overall just helpful. And it even, looking back on things that have happened in the past, it also helps kind of give clarity on what to expect. Maybe we're missing stuff before, and that kind of, and that just gives us really to look forward to somebody new, and just having a guideline to help you along the way makes the process easier. It's because it's like, how do I even create an ad, or how do I just having that structure in place is going to make the whole process, trying to find somebody that's a good fit for us easier,
Yes. And you can modify it. I mean, and I told Chris this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, dude, hiring is like a skill set. But I've found if you can SOP it out even a little bit, like we talked about a lot of stuff here. We talked about like workable, fixable, Indeed. We talked about videos. We talked about scripts. Like this is a big video.
Yeah.
Like this is a lot. Like this might take somebody another run through. But if there's kind of an SOP, at the end of the day, you're just looking for green flags and red flags. And if I can invoke it one more time, is like you want to get energy from somebody in an interview. If they feel like they're talking a little, like to me, that's a flag for a people pleaser. And people pleasers they just want to be a part of the conversation. You really want someone who enjoys talking with people. If you start hearing stories like, oh, this one guy just used to come in like, this person, ideally, if you can find it, they're the ball of energy. They like being on the phone. They love it when customers come by, and they get rewarded to deal with customers. It's my dream job personally. I love it. They don't let me in sales anymore because I screw up because I didn't log anything into the CRM. So, So, what do you think? You feel like you're a little bit more empowered to kind of take this?
Yeah, everything makes a lot more sense, and just have the guidance to what to look for and get out there. I mean, definitely benefit and help.
Any questions about hiring friends like Dustin and Chad or anything like that?
It's a thing. It is hard because I've always, everybody I've hired has been somebody I know or something like that. I haven't, which a lot of people say, don't hire friends and family. I have gotten burned a little bit a long time ago. But yeah, no, it's just, I like having a tight group of people that all work together, and it's a good core group of employees. So it is hard for me to, sometimes you got to step out of the box and hire that person that's new and outside and can come and bring positive energy and just be a good fit as well, and it could even work out better. So yeah, no, it's
And listen, I've hired my very first hire was a good friend. I hired her brother. I hired my cousin. You know, knock on wood, we've been pretty successful with people in that scenario. Is just, I would say, that's why this document really works for like an SOP. This is how I get applications. This is how it automatically refuses people. This is how I get those videos. And this is how I review people. If you've got a process, then you have no reason to not be able to fire up a $250 Indeed ad and be done. From someone who loves to hire people to improve their life and improve the company and improve our customers' lives, I always want to hire friends. But, and I say this with like absolute love, and I know we're just teasing Dustin here because Dustin's saying, stop it. You know, the company has to survive. And salespeople really want to earn a lot of money. And we want to give them like lanes of success. You know, and Mike might be able to offer a little bit more experience. He's got some big shops. But I personally find the sweet spot is really getting into this like 70K to 100K, and you can earn more if you want, but like, man, something about like right around $1.5 million of revenue into one salesperson, I've just noticed they like lop off the accounts, because really if somebody's getting into $1.5 million shop or $1 million quarter plus, you really got to start considering, should you bring in another salesperson, and that person, the original person, keeps a book and still answers calls. So,
and it's also shop dependent too. Like it depends on the size of your shop, what area you're in, how much your other overhead is too. So that's where the salesperson coming want to make a whole ton, like, yeah, it sounds good. And also you don't want to give away too much percentage in the beginning, because then if you do hit that, and then you're just like, you got to still be more profitable on the business end too. So it's hard to balance
yep.
everybody's wages and everything, where it's got to make sense for the long run, you know?
Yeah. I just 1.5, they really start falling apart. And so I just build a sales plan to get them to $1 million, incentivized $1 million a quarter. But man, $1.5 million is a lot of people, to be honest. It's really tough.
Right. Yeah. To handle that on your daily workload is
fucking crazy.
Then you end up slipping, you know, and
yep,
from those core things.
If my Pat's watching, everybody knows I love my Pat. Right at $1.5 million, you know, I'm like, I'd rather you just talk to your favorite 30 people, to be honest. Let's give the next $1.5 million away, you know. Austin asked, do you feel like people pleasers are bad closers? I feel like people pleasers. So in our core values as a company, like no lying, personally, like we draw the line, like we're transparent, no lying. We do it right, or we don't do it at all. Like, if I catch any of my sales guys lying, deep shit, just being honest. Like, you know, and knock on wood, every sales guy slips up once in a while. They want to get sale, but like, I'll give you a perfect example. Is like, we used to like be like, your site gets more leads. Well, I don't love leading with that, because I know our sites convert a lot better. I know they're up higher, but I don't know their true traffic. And a lot of times the shop owners don't even know their traffic. So I don't love promising it, just being honest. And I said, I always tell people, if you can't prove it, don't say it, bar none. And I would say that for every shop. Can't prove it, don't do it. Don't chase. Lies get you guys in trouble. But that starts from top-down mentality. You know, and I kind of have, personally, when we teach everything here at work, we just have no excuse to lie, personally. You know, there's a perfect example. If I can go on a tangent here, there's guys that are like, there's a company that's like auditing roadmap sites. Like, oh, you didn't do this. They didn't do this. They didn't do this. Like, Yeah, that's part of SEO is like the algorithms are always changing. Literally, the site last week is considered outdated. You can always update sites. You can always do more. It's kind of like working out. Go to a trainer. The trainer's going to tell you you could do this is better. But literally, when my support girls came into us today, and she's like, well, we're getting an audit. Why we didn't do this? And it's like, be honest with them. Like algorithms change, sites change. Dude, I'm telling you, just tell them like this. Like, if we do all this today and you pump it into the audit again, it's going to come out with another 10 things. And I do it again and another 10 things. It's like me going to the trainer. They're just going to keep giving me new things to work on. Fuck that trainer. So, let's see. Rolly had a good one. He said, absolutely. They typically just tell people what they want to hear. You need a person that'll talk someone out of a service they don't. Yep. 100% agree. We do the exact same thing.
Yeah. When I'm talking with the customers, it's an honest opinion. Do you need to do this? Yes or no? What are you using your vehicle for? And I'm not selling them everything. It's based on a personal level of, an honest opinion.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, honesty wins every time. This one's a good one. If I'm bringing in a salesperson today, how do I separate them from established customers? Yeah, I mean, that one, I don't believe personally in like house deals all the time, but you could say maybe Chris Williams has a guy that he likes working with and he knows he's good for 10 cars a year. Maybe that's a Chris deal every time. You got to really start laying some guardrails in that document. I have guardrails of like what's accepted and what's not. So if there's guardrails that you're setting up, you can. I will say this is like, we care about the book of business. So how I took our sales staff is like, they start taking calls. Once I know they can take care of new bound customers. I give them a book of like, hey, here's 20 customers. Why don't you just call, make an introduction, get them in, see your face. They might not come back for a year, but they're paid on what they sell. So they'll find a way. Remember, people pleasers just like, hey, come on in. We got a new shop. Check it out. There's one of the new car wash guys is laying in the back there in a pond, like he'll go back there and have fun with him. You know what I mean? Like, it can be a tough thing. I'm a numbers person personally, so I like to just draw out what it is. Austin had a good one, and I thought this was really interesting. When we were doing 1.5 million with 2 sales reps, we dropped 1 and broke through 2 million. I'd say you got an A player there. That's pretty uncommon, but that's awesome. That's great. Maybe Austin's doing some of the sales himself with that person as well too. These are guidelines at the end of the day. These are not like, this is it, this is what's going to work. Technically, if this person's doing 2 million with one person, everybody's slightly different. Like, knock on wood, I know one of these people aren't always going to watch, but different people have different levels. And I've got one guy that just, I can throw a lot on, but I know where his level's at. And his level justifiably is twice, maybe even 50% more than the other one. Doesn't mean the other person's a crappier salesman. You have to kind of understand what people are getting away with. What are they doing? And, what's their ability to manage and get leads. So
yeah, not everybody's going to be able to do the 1.5 or 2. It depends on the person.
We are a $500K shop. Is the salesperson also handling all in-person customer interactions, or do we need a dedicated receptionist? Seeing on average 3 to 4 cars a day. I'm personally not a fan of receptionists, but if you have 500K, no receptionist. Personally, million plus, maybe there could be a decision there to get a receptionist, but not 500 grand. No way. You're also taking the opportunity to not let that person make the rapport. Do you ever watch this guy like Delivered on TikTok that calls car dealerships, and he always hits a receptionist and then she goes, "What's your name?" "Tommy Makula." what do you call him about? New car sales. New car guy picks up. What's your name? Tommy McCooley. He's like, I fucking hate this. I'm like reintroducing myself. Like a receptionist, in my opinion, is a unneeded. The salesperson is on the phone at the front desk, people pleasing. At 500K, I'm having a hard time understanding why the reception's needed personally, because now you have 100 grand wrapped up in labor potentially for a 500K. Those numbers don't look great personally, but all right, we're gonna do one more. And how much should we shield salespeople from other admin task client communication? Should we dedicate them only chasing sales and building relationships versus running front of house? Wow, that's a great question. I like this question a lot. You're kind of in this scenario a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean,
I think ops people are separate than people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think if you have a salesperson, you have somebody who develops relationships, answers calls people, right? Are they hunters or they're gatherers? That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Does some key account management. If you really have key account management, like, hey, these are my 25 best people that I haven't talked to in 6 months, that's some work right there. I don't love it when they're front of house is like a really broad term. So I'm not entirely sure what you mean by versus running the front of house, but some salespeople do schedule. Absolutely. It's really how your operations are. I think this is like right at the level where I step out, because I've seen shops do this 7 ways to Sunday. However, you're typically what if you're having a salesperson in your spot, they're probably going to be scheduling. I'm assuming, is that accurate?
You're talking
to you? Yes, because I love you.
Oh, what was it again? I was reading the comments.
No, you fell asleep with your.
No, I was reading the comment that Matt was replying to.
I said, if you have a sales guy selling, are you letting that person schedule?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes it.
Yeah, no, because they kind of own that the sales and the scheduling, and then from there, yeah. I think it's good to have that combined instead of being separate.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps. Once again, guys, if you want to get it, you can go to rpmsystem.io. At the very bottom, it'll say something to the effect of $1 million sales closer, and on that page there's a pink button that shows you the Indeed, the scripts, all that stuff. So cool. Well, I think we'll call it here. It was a long one, just a little over an hour. So appreciate you hopping on.
No, it's good. Yeah,
good, man. I'm excited for you.
I'm excited, looking forward to it, and you'll be able to report back and see how things go along the way or something.
And the new site's coming out.
The site will be coming out. Very excited for that.
Yeah, so. RPM's firing and boys. Look at this. Heck yeah. So congratulations. Chris was one of the first guys that ever came on. Super glad I got to do this in a roundabout way.
Yeah. I remember when you're hiring your first employee, all nervous, what do I do? And here we are.
Yeah. It's a skill set you learn. Hey, by 30, you kind of figure it out.
Right.
First 10 were all screwed up, but that's all right. They're all cross-eyed now. Unfortunately, they're still here.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I remember when you were kind of in the 20s and 30 a month, and then you're starting to step into 40s, and now you're getting into the hundreds. It's just crazy how stuff's come so far along. So hopefully this helps. Remember, guys, at the end of the day, find people pleasers. We start with truth down, so there's no excuse you shouldn't be doing any lying. At the end of the day, the shop's got to be profitable so they can be profitable. I think we all naturally want to pay people tons and tons of money, and I get it. I would love to pay everybody $100,000 a plus, trust me. But at the end of the day, everybody has to win. And sometimes you just don't get to afford certain people, and that's okay. But if you have, I think one guy said he had one guy doing 2 million, that is a path for them. If they truly can do that, you give them a path to make the 150, 200, whatever it is, So cool. I'll end it here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I hopefully we get to do stuff like this again.
Yeah, no, it'd be fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Awesome.